Yeah, of course, dude.
Soldier Boy,
All right, everybody, welcome to Hot Couch Potato, the podcast where we talk about video games and say like and a lot. My name is Brent, aka Boo Up. I'm here with my man Rick, aka A New Perfect Day. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, it's a cold, cloudy day today.
It really is.
I've noticed it was starting to rain in different parts of California, so I think that's good weather, good gaming weather. But for sure, definitely, I love LA traffic. You know, I was supposed to go to Walmart, and I was like, oh, it's only 13 miles away, so it should be like 20 minutes. You know, like going from our house to Mission Valley.
Okay.
And then I looked, and it's an hour drive.
Of course it is.
So I was like, yeah, I definitely appreciate this traffic we have around our area. It's very great.
Wait, are you serious? You like sitting in your car?
No, fuck no.
Okay.
I really wanted to go to Walmart, but I can't go to Walmart.
I'm sorry. The sarcasm didn't translate my way, dude.
Fuck, man. Like, I really wanted to go, like, you know, to McDonald's or Carl's Jr., but no, there's, like, so much, rush hour traffic around our area, so now I just can't move. I have to walk everywhere, take the bus. Oh, my God, dude.
You have to wait until, like, 8 o'clock to go anywhere, man?
Yeah, like, past 7 o'clock, I gotta wait.
Oh, no, dude. But, yeah, it actually did drizzle today a little bit in San Diego. I think throughout the middle of the day. Yeah, it's cold as hell right now. I just came back actually from a work trip to Sacramento. I was doing some IT for this conference that they had over there. And when I say I was doing IT, I mean I was plugging in and unplugging a laptop from an HDMI cord in the wall. It's embarrassing, dude. I was seriously just over there watching Netflix on my phone and just waiting for the day to go by. I did bring my PlayStation with me, though.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Surprisingly, the hotel I was staying at had good internet. So it wasn't too bad.
So were you playing, like, Destiny and stuff like
that?
Yeah. Damn.
And Fortnite. I actually downloaded Fortnite while I was out there and started playing that, too.
Oh, nice.
But we're jumping the gun a little bit here. Some announcements. Some announcements for this week. Comic-Con tickets. If you were a person that went to Comic-Con last year, you know you get that pre-registration or pre-sale ticket advantage over everybody else. They sent an email out to everybody saying that tickets go on sale October 28th, was it?
8th, I think. Yeah, like on a Saturday.
October 28th, which is crazy early, dude. Comic-Con was less than 3-4 months ago, man. And it's not even... It's like 9 months until the next Comic-Con. And they're already selling tickets? What the fuck?
Dude, they're pretty good at catching me when I don't have money. Like, every single year, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to release it because we know that you have no money in your bank. And I'm like, fuck, man. Why do you guys got to do this shit? I got to eat ramen noodles for the rest of the week now.
It's just crazy for me, too, because I'm going to be out of town with no access to... I mean, maybe I can bring my laptop. But what time do they go on sale? 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I think they open at 9. So you could probably hotspot your cell phone.
See, because that's the thing, too. I'm going to be on the East Coast, so it'll be noon. And by the time it's noon, I'm already going to be at this music festival I'm supposed to be at. So, holy shit.
With a laptop.
Yeah. No, I'm going to have to entrust you with my login, man. Holy shit. It couldn't be more inconvenient than to sell this. It's such a random weekend, dude.
I know. Usually they have it like November or the start of next year, February. But it's like, oh yeah, let's just do it immediately. Catch these motherfuckers off guard.
Yeah, man. This is the most random time to sell fucking Comic-Con tickets. And then the regular sale for the Comic-Con tickets won't even happen until what? May? Or almost 2 months right when Comic-Con's about to start. So it's a little weird that we'll be sitting on Comic-Con tickets for almost 10 months. It baffles me a little bit.
I guess we'll be prepared. We don't have to worry about saving up like, $100 bucks or $200 to buy those tickets.
That's the thing too. You'll forget you have these tickets. It'll only come up if someone asks you, "Oh, are you going to Comic-Con?" You go, "Oh yeah, I bought tickets 5 months ago, man. Don't even worry about me." So crazy, man. So that'll be exciting next weekend. Hopefully we get in. I know
I know we're gonna be crying for the next
lucky.
10 months.
That's it too. If we don't make it, we're gonna be in limbo for the next 10 months. That's crazy, man. Because I know we've been getting a little bit lucky, right? Like your cousin and I, we all go on a Skype call every year, and we use our powers combined and make Captain Planet and get these tickets between the three of us. And one year I got in front of the line first. Another year you did. Another year John Raymond did. Whose turn is it this year, man?
I don't know, but we're getting closer to the closing time where it's like we always get it like at 9:30, then sometimes at 9:40. I think last year we got it at 9:50 a.m. and I'm like, man, it's getting that close.
Yeah, fortunately I think there was still Thursday tickets, because I've always gone Thursday every year, but there weren't any either Saturday or Sunday tickets left or something like that.
Shoot.
So that was a little nerve-wracking, but I don't know. Hopefully we have good luck this year too, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't want to be those people that got in, but all the badges were all sold out, you know?
You hear this? I'm knocking on some hard-ass fucking wood
right
right now,
yeah,
bro.
let me knock on everything.
I'm knocking on that real quick. All right, let's not jinx ourselves. Also, this week, unfortunately, EA shut down the developer Visceral Games, which hits hard for me because I was such a huge Dead Space fan.
Yeah, you were.
If anybody knows me, they know that I hate scary shit, right?
Yep.
But for whatever odd reason, I loved the Dead Space series. And it was crazy that this happened because not even a month or 2 months ago, there was some rumors going around that they might make a Dead Space 4. So this just kicks me in the balls and throws me in a grave. Super hard, man. What about you? Did you play any Dead Space games?
No, heck no. It's too scary for me. I think the first time I ever saw it was like with Danny. I think he was playing it, and then I think you were trying to get me into playing number 2. I think isn't that the one with like co-op?
Number 3 is the one with co-op, yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe it was 3 then. Yeah. But I was like, no, I don't want to get scared.
Well, this is even bigger news too, because not only did they make Dead Space, they developed a couple of the Battlefield games. Most recently, Visceral Games made Battlefield Frontline, which is the one where you're a cop. I don't know if you've played that one.
I haven't. I heard it got okay though.
Yeah,
okay
Sam, I mean, gonna get as good reviews as any Battlefield game is gonna get. But more recently, they were developing the newest Star Wars game, which was supposed to be huge. It was going to be this linear story action adventure RPG-ish where you can level up kind of adventure. Back in the day, there was this trailer for a game called Star Wars 1313. I don't know if you remember this, man.
I don't.
But it was a demo at E3 or Gamescom or something like that, where I want to say you were a bounty hunter and you were getting chased by stormtroopers and stuff, and it was kind of in the style of The Last of Us / Uncharted, you know, where it was third person from behind, you could take cover, you were shooting lasers, throwing grenades and stuff. And I think at one point you were in a cargo ship, and there was exactly pulled right out of Uncharted 3, where you're in that plane and shooting people in the cargo hold. That happened in this Star Wars 1313
yeah,
trailer.
I remember this trailer.
Yeah. So everybody got hyped up about it. They saw the little gameplay trailer for it. Everybody got hyped, and then it got canceled out of nowhere. So this Star Wars game, which was unnamed, will probably remain unnamed, that Visceral Games was working on, I think was going to be the spiritual successor to that. And since Visceral Games is shut down, who knows what's going to happen to this fucking game now, dude? It might never come out. It's horrible.
Oh, no.
So I think if I remember correctly, EA has been parading this game around for maybe 2-3 years. at every E3, I know they have like a 2-minute video of people on their computers drawing X-Wing fighters and shit like that. Not actually showing the game, but just showing the work behind the game that they're making.
Concepts.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, no.
So for 2-3 years, they've been hyping this game up. And then today we hear, oh yeah, the guys that were working on this game, we're shutting them down, dude. So
why? What happened? Like, why are they shut down?
So the word is in a press release is that they play tested the game, and the play testers, the experiences that EA was hearing from them, it wasn't up to par, or it wasn't to their liking.
What is this public play testers, or is this like their own quality assurance testers?
Yeah, I'm sure it's employed play testers. You know what I mean, like professionals and people that have done it before. Yeah. But and they want to say, and they're saying that it's an experience that they want you to always come back to. This game, and from the way they describe it, it sounds like they want to make Destiny, but in the Star Wars universe. But
ooh, that would be pretty sick, though.
That would be pretty sick, yeah. But what Visceral Games was making was an Uncharted game in the Star Wars universe. So it's a
like
game,
a single player
exactly
mode.
Like a story game where you'll play it maybe for, I don't know, 10-15 hours and then maybe never play it again. You know what I mean? If there's anything we know, and we've talked about, last week, was it last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about loot boxes and how video games make money. A single player adventure game isn't really going to make you money. How are you going to fit microtransactions into that? I guess. So I think that's where EA's mindset is at, is they want to have a game that
continuously expands.
Exactly. That's online too. You can have, because the online experience is infinite. As long as you're playing with different people, it might be the same missions, but you can play with different people, and that can happen over and over and over again. That'll keep you coming back to the game. If you finish the game once, you're kind of done with it, right? Until one day you're like, oh, hey, my backlog is 90 games deep, but I remember having fun in this game. Let me replay that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I guess it's the direction that EA wants to take it, is why they weren't pleased with what Visceral was doing, effectively causing them to shut down. And I mean, look at what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda, man. I think they're just gun shy. They don't want to fail again like they did with the most recent Mass Effect. So
like, what, when they're making the game and all that, aren't they overlooking at the direction of the game is going and like saying, oh yeah, we don't want you to do this, we want you to make it the way we want to see it, rather than, okay, we're so far into making this game, this is not what we envision, and we're gonna cancel you guys.
Maybe they don't check in as often as you think. I mean, as a worker, I don't want my boss hanging on my shoulder every day of the week, right? As someone who's doing paperwork and stuff. So I'm sure it's the same thing. Maybe they have monthly meetings or quarterly meetings about updates on the game and things that are happening. But maybe this was the first time people actually got to play test it, and they got to get opinions other than people who are developing the game, right? Because if I'm EA and I'm asking them, hey, how's the game going? Of course, I'm making this. I'm never going to call my child ugly. I'm going to say, oh man, the game is going great. We added some new particle effects, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you get Joe Schmo coming in off the street who has no allegiance to this game, who comes in and plays. Maybe he's a Star Wars fan too. Comes in and plays it and goes, yeah, this is cool. I'd buy it and then maybe return it to GameStop after I finish it. As EA, I do not want to hear that, right? There's no staying power in that at all. I want there to be multiplayer, co-op, PvP. I want there to be loot boxes. I want there to be different skins you can buy, man. We want DLC packs. They want anything to make money, right? So maybe the direction of the game was correct, but on the business side of things, it didn't really make sense.
What about like just correcting their mistake, or start, making the changes to go to their vision, rather than, okay, we're just going to cut you guys because, we don't feel like you're going the way that we want you to go.
And I think that's what they're doing now. I think they said they're moving the Star Wars game to, oh man, I'm drawing a blank, EA Vancouver or something like that. some Vancouver-based
okay.
developer. But like I said, they've been showing videos for the past 2, maybe 3 years of people drawing on their computer screens Star Wars stuff, and this is what they have to show for it: a memo saying, "Yeah, guys, we're shutting the guys that were in these videos down
No,
and moving it over somewhere else." So I think they're gonna continue it. It was scheduled. They said it was gonna be scheduled to release in 2019. Final Fantasy VII Remake might come out before this thing, man. Who knows, dude?
50 years from now.
Dude, you know what? I actually can't wait until Final Fantasy VII Remake does come out so we can stop making that joke. That's like our version of when hell freezes over, right? Is when Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out.
They better show another trailer or something like that at PSX this
I'm hoping.
year.
I'm hoping. If they show a lot of Monster Hunter Worlds, I actually might be pissed. Because we have all the information we need about that game from Tokyo Game Show. You know what I mean? We have pre-order bonuses. We have some story. We know what the hunts are going to look like from the first ever trailer they showed us. We don't need anything else on that game. If they show that at PlayStation Experience, it's going to be a waste of 5 minutes. They could have been showing Final Fantasy VII Remake, dude. Sony, please. But yeah, man, sad times. Like I said, this hits a little closer home to me because I was a huge fan of Dead Space. Kind of on the back end too, this Star Wars game is affected and may never come out. Who knows, man? We'll see.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show you the business side of things sucks, and maybe Visceral Games should have kickstarted the next Dead Space instead of trusting EA. The fuckers.
Or combined in the universes have like a Dead Space Star Wars.
Oh yeah, right. Disney wouldn't have let that happen, man. Disney would have killed somebody before that happened. They would have said,
like,
hey,
you're in the deepest part of dark space and you're like, I don't know, abandoned somewhere with your spaceship. Got to fight off these aliens to get back to. I don't know.
You know what Disney's gonna say? Oh, cool, you're fucking up our Star Wars universe. Well, we're canceling Kingdom Hearts 3.
No,
thanks, guys. That's what Disney's gonna do with that shit. That's so spiteful. But yeah, man, it sucks. It sucks hearing things get canceled. I mean, we might be jumping into this a little early, so I want to talk about scary games next week. But PT, man, the biggest one of all. That one, when Kojima left, Konami, that shit got canceled super hard, man. And it always sucks thinking about what could have been. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I don't want to be the guy to be like, okay, guys, we're canceling everything, and you guys are all gone.
Yeah, I would hate to be that guy too, because it looks like you're the one firing them when no, it's not me. It's the company's decision, dude.
Yeah, you're just relaying the message.
Kill the messenger, dude, for real. But yeah, so enough talking about games we'll never play, man. What games have you been playing this week?
This week I've actually started up Neko Neko Para.
Okay.
Volume
what the
0.
Fuck is Neko Neko Para? Is that a dating sim?
I mentioned this in like a long time ago in our podcast. It was the one where there's anime girls, but they're cat girls, anime cat girls, and they're maids or something like that. But I just started it. I haven't really like played anything, but it looks like you just watch a bunch of scenes and. You know, it's like watching an anime of cat girls, and they're like, I don't know, messing with stuff in the bathroom, and I don't know. The story seems okay. I'm just hoping if I can be able to do something in the game, like other than just watching them. So yeah, that's the game I've been playing.
So wait, you're just watching a bunch of cutscenes? Do you make any decisions or choices?
I don't know. Like, I thought this was like some sort of dating sim or like some rom-coms kind of stuff.
Okay.
Where, you know, they kind of acknowledge the protagonist a little bit, but mostly you're just watching a bunch of scenes of them conversing amongst each other about different ways to approach different chores. And I was like, oh man, this is kind of dry. But the way that they animate, it's not like pictures alone. it's like kind of pictures moving side to side to give it like a 3D effect.
Mhm.
So I guess that's different from your typical dating sims where you're just always reading the text.
Mhm.
They're actually like talking and making these little animation, and I don't know if you can consider it a genre. It'd be like moe or like cute or something like that in the anime world. So I just have to see where this is going. So
So you haven't done any quick little puzzle game or shot anybody with love in this game?
No, I want to do that. I need to play that Galgun game.
So you've just been what? So you've just been reading,
watching, reading stuff for 30 minutes. I just put it on auto, and I was like, "Oh my god, when do I even talk or make decisions amongst myself?"
Is the game in Japanese or is it in English?
The voices are in Japanese, but it's like subtitle text, and they're talking too. So I don't know. I was expecting something different. Maybe I just haven't reached far enough where I'm able to play the game. So
okay,
yep.
And you
I'm
said
just watching anime right now.
But you have to manually click through. Well, I guess you put it on auto, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this was part 2. You've played part 1 then? I'm assuming, or?
Oh no, this is part 0.
Oh, part
that
0.
I'm playing.
Okay.
Yeah, volume 0. So yeah, they only had like one perverted line. It was kind of strange. It caught me off guard. She was like, "Oh yeah, we're not supposed to be." I forgot she was talking about something about mating, and she was like, "Oh, it just makes me so wet." I was like, "What the fuck? We were just talking about making food. What the fuck are you talking about?" Oh, I don't know where that game was going. So maybe it's just, I don't know. I have to see how far I can get. I don't want to like beat the whole game watching this whole thing just fly by. I don't even think it's the game at this point.
I know. Watch you're waiting the entire game for some gameplay, and it just ends up you read the whole thing for 5 days, and it ends, and you're just like, wait, what? Dude, I've talked about that before. How I was playing this game called Valhalla or something like that, where you're a bartender, and I thought I would be a bartender. It would be like Burger Time or something, where I have to make the drinks when people order them in a amount of time with the right ingredients, or else they'll get mad at me. I won't make enough money for the bar, right?
Oh, you were talking about this in the same episode I was talking about this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, I remember now.
I played this entire game, and all you have to do is click the ingredients. You don't even have to measure it. You click the ingredients, you click a mix button, it automatically makes it for you. Even if you put the ingredients in out of order, it makes it for you. And that's it. You just click 2 things, mix, and then you give it to a person, and then they just talk to you about all their problems and shit. It's sounding like this Neko game, dude, and I'm scared for you. I don't want you to go through the same pain I went through.
I know, it's already been 40 minutes, and I'm like, fuck, man.
I'm actually going to check right now. Hold on. Do I have my Steam open? If I do.
Neko Para, Volume 0. Maybe number 1 and 2 you actually can play.
So this Valhalla game, I played for 14 hours, dude.
Whoa!
And it's all fucking talking, bro. It's just talking and
Valhalla.
You
said it was on Steam?
Yeah, it's on Steam. I played this game for 14 hours. I didn't do anything but click different fucking ingredients and mix it, dude. They give you a menu or a recipe sheet the whole time too, so it's not like I have to memorize anything. Oh my god,
dude! It got overwhelmingly positive reviews. These people are crazy.
I mean, the story is cool. It's kind of weaved out, but it's not bad. I just wish it was, like I said, you actually have to pay attention when you're making these drinks, and there's a timer or something to put a little pressure on you. But no,
yeah.
But when I was playing it, it kind of felt like Phoenix Wright. You know what I mean? Where you just want to finish the day in the courtroom so you could see how the story goes the next day. You know what I mean? I was going through each day making these drinks just so I could find out the result of what people were talking to me about and everything like that. But yeah, dude, never again. And maybe stick with it for maybe 2 more hours, man. But if you don't do anything in that game, watch a YouTube video or something, man. Oh no. But yeah, as I mentioned, I brought my PlayStation with me on a business trip. Fortunately, the hotel I stayed at, where did I stay at? Was it Hilton? I forget, dude. But fortunately, the place I stayed at had amazing internet. So I was able to play some Destiny 2, run around and shoot stuff. The Prestige raid, or hard mode raid, dropped this week. And with it, they made enemies a little bit harder. They added different mechanics to the fights. You've finished the raid before, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they just added maybe one or two mechanics to each encounter. Like, for example, you know how when we were fighting Callus, there's 3 people in the Shadow Realm and they have to call out the symbols and stuff, and one person outside has to kill whatever symbol they don't call. So what happens now is when the person kills the symbol that isn't called, they get teleported into the Shadow Realm, and one person in the Shadow Realm randomly gets teleported out.
Whoa.
So it's more of a check that everyone knows how to do all of the mechanics. Same thing in the Gauntlet. I don't know if you remember that part where you have to run and jump in between the circles and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Instead of one person being designated as the runner going through those circles, you can only do the running part once. So everybody has to switch off. Okay, I'll run this round. Okay, I'll run this round.
Dang.
And then for
not Dustin running all the rounds.
Shout out to Dustin, man, running that shit on a Titan or a War. I forget what he was. I just remember him jumping through and floating, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna make that gap," and starts floating backwards.
And then he floats backwards.
The most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then in the dogs part, they added 2 more dogs, I think. So there's 8 dogs instead of 6.
Damn.
It's just a little extra mechanics here and there just to make it different enough. But it's more or less the same. Wasn't able to do it because nobody's playing Destiny 2 anymore, unfortunately.
I think when everybody maxed out at 305, it's like, what do we do now? And
yeah,
you know, everybody been waiting for a new patch, new DLC, and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think I don't know.
I think it's just run its course, man. Even with Iron Banner a couple weeks ago, I really didn't even play it, man. I got maybe 2 pieces of gear, and after like 5 games or something, I said, all right, I'm kind of done with Iron Banner. I don't need the rest of the gear, man. It's the same thing over and over, and it's losing its appeal, I think. And a part of that is because everything from Destiny 1, by the end of Destiny 1's run, you know, when they had all the updates, everything was brought up, even all the raids were brought up. When they came out with Destiny 2, they basically started over and wiped the slate clean. And I was reading something interesting today. This is a perfect example why there was no World of Warcraft 2. You know, it's just World of Warcraft, and they kept adding expansions and expansions onto it, right?
Yeah.
They should have just done the same thing with Destiny. Just maybe keep the story where everything kind of resets, but at least we could still go back to old content, you know, like the old raids and stuff. Things that you've built over 3 years is just completely gone now in Destiny 2. So I think that's why it's mostly hurting. There's just nothing else to do in that game anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Once you reach that 305, it's like, what else do you want to do? Just keep leveling up other gear? And I don't know. And
that's the thing too, is all the guns, when you get any kind of gun, it'll have the same perks, you know? So if you get this hand cannon called, let's just for things sake, call it the Skype cannon, right? No matter when you get that Skype cannon, it's going to have the same perks on it. There's no variables at all. Whereas in Destiny 1, you could get the Skype cannon and it'll have explosive rounds. You get the Skype cannon again, it'll have Firefly on it, which will explode if you headshot somebody, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it too. A little bit of the randomness is not there as well. But yeah, it's sad times, man. So wasn't able to do the hard mode raid yet. Maybe this weekend people will jump on. But yeah, it's kind of sad. We used to have maybe 3 or 4 pages of people in our clan all playing Destiny at the same time, and now it's just like 5 people. It's horrible.
Yeah. I usually check the PSN through my app on the phone, and I will always see like only 1 or 2 people. And I used to remember seeing like 8 people on playing Destiny, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's just like 2 people, but they're not even playing Destiny.
Yeah, I remember there was maybe we could have at any given time 3 raids going on at the same time, which is how it happened when the raid first came
Yeah.
out, and now it's just nobody's on anymore. It's crazy. But that's a whole nother story. We could delve into that later. Blessing in disguise, though, since we're not playing Destiny 2 anymore, a lot of people have jumped onto Fortnite, which is a free-to-play game on PlayStation 4. It's following the same vein as all those battle royale games where you drop in, you loot for guns in the area. The only difference is in this one you could build stuff. So you could build walls to cover you. You could build stairs to look over the walls and all this stuff. So it's in that sense a little bit different from PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and H1Z1. Can you build an H1Z1? I guess you can, but nobody ever does. Yeah, nobody ever does in those games. I think it's just so easy to do so in Fortnite that, if you're picking up a down team member, you can build a wall in front of them so nobody shoots you, So
I saw a video of like, I think it was like a group of people building like a giant ramp, and it went all the way to the top of the sky or something like that.
Mhm.
And then they were like sniping people down below.
Oh shit.
But then some guy like destroyed the base of wherever the ramp was connected to, and so like the ramp was like slowly falling, and then you can see the guys were like running away from the falling ramp, but they were stuck because it's like the ramp ends at the very top, so they just had to like jump off and die. And then one guy was falling, so he tried to build something under him while he was falling. I was like, damn, these people are pretty funny. So I might pick up that game, just so I can play with you guys.
Yeah, it's free, man. You can just download it. It's pretty fun, man. I played maybe 3 or 4 games the other night, and yeah, with those games, the experience is different every time, just depending on who you're playing with, right? Whoever's in the game with you and things like that. And yeah, like you said, I think I ran into the people we lost to. We got up to top 10 last time, and the people that we were against, they had built just a house and just turtled themselves in the safe zone, dude. And there was no way we can get in there. They were sniping us and everything. It was horrible.
Oh yeah, I think Eric showed me a video of him and Dustin like inside a house, and they're just camping it up. So like as soon as the guy opened the door, they just lit him up so fast.
That's funny, dude. But I will say this: it is a fun game, and it's free to play, which is great too. But it doesn't. I am someone who played H1Z1 on Steam, and it kind of doesn't compare just because it's on a console. H1Z1 was a lot more fun because I could use mouse and keyboard, and because the fights were a little bit more fun because there wasn't that auto aim and you had to rely just on yourself to aim. So I will say that is Fortnite on PC? It's got to be on PC too, right?
I don't know.
I might have to try it on PC and compare. That might be something I do. But we'll see. It's a fun game. It's really fun. These Battle Royale games are knocking it out the park right now, which kind of makes me sad, especially since we just heard that news that Visceral Games is closing because it's not like Fortnite. See, if they come out with a Star Wars Battle Royale, I will be so upset. I will cry. I was expecting Star Wars 13, and I get this, dude. What? It's gonna be horrible. But yeah. So this week we're gonna talk about a video game series and the difference between bad ones and good ones. I guess first we want to start out with what constitutes a video game series. Does it have to be connected like Uncharted and Destiny, or do games like Mario and Final Fantasy count? What do you think, man?
I think that that's a good point. Final Fantasy is like every game is their own kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like I think one of the games tried to connect them all together in the same universe, which was like Dissidia and stuff like that. And Final Fantasy 14, where they bringing in characters, but to classify them as a series, I would like to think that they're in the same universe, at least at the bare minimum. Like they don't necessarily have to be connected by story,
Mm-hmm.
but since in a general perspective, I think people think of a series as where the stories are all connected because like people have different perspectives or different games, different takes, different companies making like for example Mario, different department, like for example Assassin's Creed, they had different departments, different companies making different Assassin's Creed games,
Mm-hmm.
even those like in the same universe. But yeah, as long as it connects in some way, I think that's what defines it as a series.
Even if it's just by name, like Final Fantasy.
Well, like for example, like the characters would be connected, or the story will be connected, or the universe will be connected, then I would think that would be defined as a series. But if it's just by the name, like like the Final Fantasy movie, in no way was connected to any of the series or the universe.
Yeah.
I don't think that can be called a series or part of it,
Yeah.
at least.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. You wouldn't say Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 9, those aren't related at all. But since they're both Final Fantasy, are they part of a series? Because I think too, Final Fantasy 13, didn't 2 other parts come out for that game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 parts.
That would be a series right there, right? Because it had Lightning, it had her sister, whatever, and all the same characters.
Oh, so you're so something like in the story along the lines of connected by a story is defined as a series?
That's what it is to me. Yeah, that's what I think it is. But you think no matter what, so Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, that would be a series connected to like 3 and all that as well?
It has to be something connected to it. Like even though they're different games, like if Cloud suddenly comes to the different universe of Final Fantasy 9, then I would say yeah, that's kind of like a series. So there has to be a common element between them to be connected. Otherwise, maybe it's just like, for example, Final Fantasy has different games, but only different numbers of the games connect to each other. I would say the ones that are connected to each other are called series. The ones that have no relevance to each other, then it's just a standalone game, but they carry the weight of Final Fantasy.
Okay. So what about Mario? Are all those games part of a series? I guess some of them are, but are all of them? Like, is Mario Sunshine connected to Super Mario World?
No, because like I think is it that the same company, or was that different departments and making? I don't know. See, that's where he's getting convoluted.
Because at the same time, I don't know what the goal. I've never played Mario Sunshine, but
I know like Galaxy has like 1 and 2, so I would say that's a series.
Okay.
Just like your Final Fantasy example, but I don't know. Like Super Mario World and Super Mario Galaxy, they're like different perspectives
of the same thing. So you played Super Mario Galaxy?
No, I played Mario World and N64 one. I forgot that one. And Mario 64.
Yeah.
Mario. Yeah.
See, the last Super Mario game I played was the Superstars one, the RPG.
Oh, Mario RPG. Oh wait, no, that was Superstars. Have you played Mario RPG, by the way?
Yeah, that was the one on Super Nintendo, right? Like back in the day?
Yeah,
I've played that one too. See, and I want to say in that one, you're always Mario saving the princess, right?
Well, so I guess so. That's
why I'm asking it. What's the end game in Sunshine? Because I don't know. Maybe it's just the adventures of Mario and Bowser fighting over Princess Peach. Maybe that's how all those games are connected.
I guess so. I guess they are connected.
That being said, too, what about Zelda? Are you just always waking up and someone tells you, "Oh, you have to save the princess"? So you're like, "Okay, time to find this sword for the 5th time and save Zelda."
I think I only played 2 Zelda games, and yeah, it's generally it. You just wake up, gotta save the world, and then I don't know what happens after that. I forget. go back
Wake
to
up.
sleep.
Gotta save the world. Yeah, that's Zelda in a nutshell. If you put that on Breath of the Wild, that's what they probably have on the back of the game case. Wake up, save the world.
Wake up at 6 a.m. Got to go to work to save the world. Shit.
I guess, yeah, and the main difference between games is what? Mechanics, right? They went from 2D Mario to RPG Mario to 3D Mario. Zelda, they went from top-down Link to 3D Link, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess those can count. I guess the one that really is iffy, at least to me, is the Final Fantasy series, because none of those are really related at all either.
Yeah.
So, to you, man, in your opinion, what are some good video game series out there that just ran its course and ended at the right time?
Batman.
Oh,
say
okay.
Is really pretty good at keeping a solid story, very consistent. When you start the second game or the third game, you either have your gadgets or you have to find a way to retrieve your gadgets or get upgraded gadgets. But all the storyline is pretty connected, and it ends on a very good note too.
Mm-hmm.
I would, at least in my opinion. I would say Batman is pretty good. The next one I would say is Devil May Cry.
Ooh, really?
I think that one went up to number 4. But
ooh, you're not counting DMC, dude?
Oh, no. That's not part of that. Shit. See, you're like blowing my theory out of like proportion at this point. I don't know what I'm talking
you're fine.
about
You're
now.
fine. 1 through 4, good series. Okay, I'll take it.
1 through 4, and I think that was like a reboot or whatever. DMC, but yeah, like DMC was supposed to be like a Resident Evil feel where you're pretty vulnerable and you're like a badass demon killer person.
Mm-hmm.
But then number 2 they fucked up. But number 3 and 4 it ended pretty good. They got better. They listened to the fans, and the story was pretty consistent throughout the thing. So I would say that was a pretty good story in itself. And I would say that's pretty much it.
Don't be scared.
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
You guess.
I never played it though. That's why I can't really vouch for it. But look at the fan base; it's so huge, and I really want to get into Kingdom Hearts. So I just never can get past the first game. It's really hard for me. And then here's a couple more. I just realized. Dead or Alive. I mean, Dark Souls.
So those two games both. Yeah, okay, Dead or Alive and Dark Souls. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I think my all-time favorite would be Dark Souls at the least, because even though it was pretty mixed in reviews, the story was not even consistent, but the series was good in itself when it came to lore. Like they were pretty good at either conveying it or where you had to connect the dots of, you're building your own world and stuff like. I think you were talking about that in one of the previous podcasts where they give you like partial information and then you have to build that world out of using that partial information. So that was the kind of the lore they were giving for Dark Souls, and that's what captivated people to keep playing Dark Souls.
Yeah.
In itself. So, yep, those are my lists right there.
Those are your good ones. I'll agree with you for sure on Dark Souls, especially after watching lore videos and getting more into the lore, like you mentioned, and how the Nameless King, there was mentions of him even in Dark Souls 1, and you don't even fight him until Dark Souls 3, which came out years after Dark Souls 1 came out. So I think just in connections like that alone make that a great series. And for sure, I want to say Dark Souls 3 was the last one. So they ended it on a very, very good note. Another one that's good for me. What's another one I agreed with you on? I don't think anything else, dude. I didn't like any of your series, bro.
You didn't like your Kingdom Hearts?
No. That's why I'm surprised you said it, dude.
Well, I guess because it was like a little bit out of order.
Like,
a lot of out of order.
We'll see when. We'll see.
Maybe I need to start playing it then. I don't know.
We'll see when 3 comes out. The biggest thing with me, man, when that game was originally coming out, was I played 1 and 2, and I was a huge fan. I played 1, and I was a huge fan. You know, I was nerding out over this shit. This was like in 7th grade back in the day or whatever. And then part 2 they said was going to come out, but oh hey, here's this Chain of Memories game that's coming out too. I'm excited. I go, oh man, I can't wait to play that game. It's going to be on Game Boy Advance. What the fuck? I don't have a Game Boy Advance, dude. How am I going to play this shit? That's the main reason why I own a Game Boy Advance SP, is because of that Kingdom Hearts fucking game, man. I mean, ultimately, I got Mario Superstars and all that shit, and it was great, but the main reason I bought a Game Boy Advance SP was because of freaking Kingdom Hearts, dude. If I have to jump between multiple platforms that are not related, not from like PlayStation 3 to 4, but if I have to jump from PlayStation to Nintendo, what the fuck, man? That's a bad series, dude. I shouldn't have to be jumping around like that. But I'd say other good video game series to me would be Tekken as well. They carried the story throughout that entire fighting game series, although they messed up a few of them. The story of Kazuya versus Heihachi versus Jin just carried through that entire series, man. And that game was always fun. You never really look for a story in a fighting game, but I was always intrigued by it, especially since in the Tekken games there was a movie mode where you could watch all the endings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I always thought that was sick, and that always kept me interested. I didn't have to beat the game every day to watch an ending I wanted to watch, right? Because this was before YouTube. I couldn't go online and search Heihachi's ending, and figure out what happened. I could just go into theater mode in Tekken 3 and watch all of them. So that was a good one too. I think the story definitely helped me out on that. My favorite one of all time, Uncharted. It's just modern day Indiana Jones, dude. I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. The gameplay is amazing in that game, and it got better every time. I mean, I can complain about which is the worst Uncharted, but the worst Uncharted is still better than the best Call of Duty game. So it's not saying much. The story's there, the adventure's there. I mean, it's a great experience all the way through. They did implement multiplayer into it eventually, which was fun as well. I remember getting a good kick out of that. I think you and I played together once, didn't we? And at one point we were just hanging off a ledge with shotguns and just ambushing each other.
Yep.
Like I would walk up to this ledge and you would just pop up and shoot me with a shotgun, and vice versa, dude. But the multiplayer was fun for sure, and that game is just super polished, even as it went on to Uncharted 4. And the fact that they're ending it, closing that chapter for sure, because spoiler alert for Uncharted 4, there's an epilogue scene with Drake's daughter. Wait, fuck, you haven't played this yet, huh?
Yeah. Wait, hold up.
All right. I won't spoil it anymore then. Fuck. But they ended it well. To be for sure, there's not going to be any more, Nathan Drake in Uncharted. And then with Lost Legacy, they restarted it up with Chloe and Nadine, which turned out to be a great game. And we'll see if they take that story any further, man. But yeah. And I think we can start mentioning our bad ones, our series that just overstayed their welcome. There's a couple of obvious ones, but I'll start off with a couple first, man. Since we just talked about it, Dead Space. Which pains me to say because the first 2 games were awesome. The first game was great. It was definitely a scary movie or a scary game. And then you got into 2, which got into a little bit more action. So, but you got scared at the same time. It still had some of those scary elements. And then you got into 3, which was filled with microtransactions and not enough scary and too much action, where it just killed the feeling. I didn't even consider it a Dead Space game anymore. I think I blocked it out of my memory, man, just like you do with games that you don't like. I think Dead Space, the series, ends at Dead Space 2 for me. And thinking about it, if I look at it like that, it's a good ending, dude. I won't have to worry about it. But no, that's just like pick off that scab with Dead Space 3 and just put you through a whole bullshit adventure. Fun fact, I streamed that entire game with Danny. We co-op through that entire game, and it was fucking AIDS, dude. I hate that story so much. One cool thing is you play as two different characters. One person is the main character, Isaac Clarke, and the other person is I don't know, this guy in the army. I forget his name. But the guy in the army has PTSD. So there's certain side missions you'll do, and I'm over here playing as the guy that has PTSD, and I'm seeing these toy soldiers, these presents, like randomly in the environment, you know what I mean? And I hear these voices in my headphones. I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? And we get into this one room, and there's this huge nutcracker toy soldier type thing looking at me dead in the face, and I'm shooting it and stuff, and Danny's tripping out. He's like, dude, why are you just shooting that box? And I go, what? You don't see this toy soldier? He goes, no, what are you talking about? I go, no, dude, there's a toy soldier right here standing on this Christmas present. And I start sounding crazy. He's like, no, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. That's just a regular barrel. And I start tripping, dude. It's crazy. I think that was maybe the best thing that they did in that game. Made the experience different for both players. To where it legitimately sounded like I was crazy, but it was the character going through PTSD and suffering from, his family
that
dying.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So I experienced the game different than what Danny did. I mean, that was the only cool aspect of the game. Everything else from start to finish was just like they forced this shooter into the Dead Space universe. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy that at all. So while it was good for the first two, which will probably be the case for all these bad series that will come up with, the third one just overstayed its welcome for sure. In that same vein, Mass Effect, the first two were great. The first one was good. The second one was a great improvement on the first one. And in the third one, they just oversimplified it. And there was that whole debacle about locking a character behind pre-order. That could be on your team. You didn't have him unless you pre-ordered the game or downloaded him as a DLC or something like that. And then the endings, how they ultimately, all these choices you made throughout all three games just didn't matter in the end. It was just a choice of walking between one of three doors to get one of three different endings. It didn't matter what you did throughout your entire maybe 120-hour journey throughout this universe. When it came down to it in the end, all it mattered was, oh, let me walk through this door to get this ending, or vice versa. So it killed me, because there was some crazy I played through the first one, through the good and bad campaign, and there's some amazing moments and amazing differences between the first and the second. Are you gonna play Mass Effect?
No, when I heard about that ending thing, I was like, nah, I like to play a game so I can have a good ending when I'm done, or feel accomplished. But
So
I heard it got so rough reviews.
So just to give you an idea of how great the first game is, depending on your choices, whether you're a rogue or you go on like the Paragon route, Paragon is good, rogue is bad, you can completely skip the last boss fight.
What?
So you can either talk him into killing himself or make him mad enough to fight you. I think you can go through the Paragon route and you actually have to fight him. But if you're the asshole route, there might be a choice that just says, dude, just kill yourself. You're not doing anybody any favors. You're just a puppet. And the dude just shoots himself, dude. It's amazing.
What?
Yeah, man. You can completely skip the last boss fight depending on all the choices you've made. You know what I mean? And then there's all kinds of differences. In the first game, in the end, you have a choice of where to set your defenses for the final attack, right? You can say, oh, let's protect the politicians, or let's protect the people in the city, type of deal. You know what I mean? And then those choices matter, because then in the second game, people will hate you, or the political officials will love you because you saved them, and vice versa. So 1 and 2, it really felt like your choices matter. And one of the greatest choices is when you go to the major space station, this lady from the news comes and interviews you. You know, if you're a nice guy, you can go through and answer her questions. If you're a not so nice guy, you can knock her out. And it is the most amazing cutscene ever. And it happens again in part 2. She comes up to you in the same space station, starts asking you questions about your missions, and you knock her out all the same, dude. It's fucking amazing. If you have not seen the videos of Commander Shepard knocking out the reporter, it's some Asian lady. I suggest you watch it right now. It's fucking amazing, dude. So, just like Dead Space, 1 and 2 are great. The third one just put it all down the toilet, man. So I'm sad already, and I've only mentioned 2 games, dude. What are games that you got?
One, I would like to say Silent Hill. I'm just kidding. I just don't like scary games. But but the one that really bugged me was Assassin's Creed and their story. You know, it's like the very first game, you're supposed to be an assassin in this religious war, and there's a lot of conspiracies going on, and that's what captivated people to keep playing, is so you can uncover all these conspiracies. And you know, the game mechanics was pretty bad, but the story was still strong enough to keep the people you know, invested in playing the game. So when number 2 came out, it actually took off. It was like really good. The story was pretty fluid. You know, you're a different person, but you're still in the same universe of you know, your goal is never ending, but you still got to uncover that hidden truth that no one really knows. And just like Dark Souls, they gave you like different pieces of information that help benefit the plot of why do you have a Assassin's Creed faction, and why are you doing these things, so you can protect the world and convey messages to the future. Number 3 was getting a little convoluted. It was just like you were just basically an assassin trying to live, and the way that the story was progressing at that point, it just, I don't know, it was just weird. It started getting weird and started changing how the assassins are. Number 4, it was just really good gameplay, but the story was starting to become really weak. And that's, you know, you're only playing the game so you can become or unravel the truth of the entire series.
Which one was number 4? Was that Black Flag?
The Pirates.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But, you know, essentially you kind of unravel the truth of things in number 3. So you really don't care what's going on at this point. You're just like, okay, I'm just an assassin. I just gotta, you know, save the world kind of stuff. You don't really care at this point. And I haven't played the future ones, but it's just basically I don't know how the story is going from that point, so I have to keep playing in order to see if I'm really invested in learning more about the truth of why we're still doing this, why we're still trying to save the world, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm really turned off by Assassin's Creed at this point. That's why I wasn't really interested in the Egypt one. But maybe if I start playing the other ones, I can say, okay, now I want to see where the conspiracies are lying and stuff like that, because we unraveled it in number 3. And you know, you start to lose your purpose, your goal in life, essentially. And you're like, okay, I'm just starting to kill random people because I'm an assassin. So your purpose in life suddenly changed after that point.
So is Desmond even in like number 4 at all?
Should I reveal that?
Dude,
truth?
the game's been out forever.
Play.
Yeah. No, dude, the game's been out. Just let me know. Just let me know, dude.
Okay, spoilers for all the listeners out there, but yeah, number 3, he ends up dying.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, originally your goal was to make Desmond stronger, to become a better assassin. That's why he's learning all of these techniques and stuff like that. But at the end of 3, he was given the choice to either destroy the world so he can start from scratch, or kill himself. And you know, the obvious choice is he ended up killing himself so the world can keep going. So it kind of ended his story like at that point. Number 4, you're you don't know who you are, but you're starting to work for I forgot what the bad people's
The Templars?
corporation. Yeah, the Templars. But you don't know that they're Templars. You're just there to work, you know?
Mhm.
And then you soon start revealing the truths about things as you're an assassin. And of course, the people try to the actual assassins in the future try to recruit you and stuff like that. So that's how that story goes.
Okay, so they kind of
And
reboot it, ending Desmond's story.
exactly.
Okay,
So maybe
okay.
Desmond's still alive. I don't know. It's like my interest and my purpose and goal was to keep Desmond alive, to
Yeah.
unreveal the truth. But they did that all in one go on number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I don't know at this point. So maybe if I keep playing, I can get reinvested in. Okay, I now have a higher purpose
Mm-hmm.
other than that. But yep, that was I don't know, a series I thought was falling out. The next one I would say is like Call of Duty.
Oh man, yeah.
I don't know if this is a series in itself, but it's always about war and stuff like that. And I guess it got so good, it had a good fan base, and it kept going to the point where they start fighting in space. And I never played that version, so I don't know what's going on, what they're fighting about. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Modern Warfare series and stuff like that.
Well, the first 2, right? The third one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I was like,
What the
okay. And then now they're just fighting in space. I don't even know what's going on. But last, I would say the least series is, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate, but it's Pokemon.
What? You don't like Pokemon? Or you think that
I
series is
love
falling off?
Pokemon, but I just don't know about the whole series. You're always getting rebooted as the character with no Pokemon, and you got to build up your character, your Pokemon, and I don't know, beat all the gym battles, stuff like that, and catch all the Pokemon. But they just keep repeating that same formula, and even though it's really successful, it's just, to me personally, I'm like, man, why can't we just make open world, like a MMO with all players across the world, basically. And you just have one world, and you can release as much Pokemon as you want, new Pokemons, new maps, and all that. But it's like an MMO, so everybody is always battling each other, looking to catch the latest and greatest Pokemon, and stuff like that. But it's like, for the Pokemon series, you always have to transfer your Pokemon. You gotta level them up, catch the shiny, all over again in the new games. And I don't know. I think that if they just made it a little bit like an open world, they can expand upon it rather than just always re-releasing a new game, a different version of the same game, and stuff like that. Because it's like, I miss the Pokemon Blue and Red, and it's like irrelevant. The Pokemon are not strong enough to fight off all the new Pokemon shit, and stuff like that. So I feel like Ash
that never
always
wins.
That never wins and never grows up.
But yeah, I feel you, because it used to be all just set. Rock types were weak against grass and water types. They were strong against electric types. You know what I mean? And then now you get Pokemon that are both grass and rock types. So what the hell is its weakness, dude?
They're God and steel and time bending and fire bending. I'm like, man, what is going on? Shiny and all that. So I don't know. I think it's just my personal opinion that like, of course the games are great in itself, but if they just had that continuity of all of the series of, I don't know, maybe if they kept Red and pushed them all the way to, you have your old Pokemon, but you're going to a new area kind of thing. But now it's just like, you're always starting a new player, new Pokemon, new map, and everything in the past is kind of irrelevant kind of stuff.
Yeah,
something
I
like
get that.
So
how everything just resets, doesn't carry over from game to game. I feel that a little bit.
Yep, and that's it.
So for me, kind of a hot take too, just like your Pokemon one. Although I played it, I didn't really like where the Telltale Walking Dead series went, man.
I never play that.
So I won't spoil it for you. But the first 5 episodes were great. Then there was a little filler episode between the first season and the second season. Second season started to wane. I was like, all right, dude, I'm really invested in some of these characters, but they're making some dumbass decisions that I would never even try to put them through. You know what I mean? It's just out
They're
of character.
dying. You gotta sacrifice themselves.
It was just out of character for them. I don't want to spoil it, man. There's just some decisions.
Character.
There's just some decisions that the characters make where your experience from them in season 1 is just out of this world. Like, what? We know you better than this. Why would you just flip the script like that? What's going on, dude? You know what I mean? And from what I've heard so far from the most recent, I haven't played it yet, the most recent Walking Dead series that continues the original one, which follows Clementine, to be more specific. It didn't do that great. So I think that one only had maybe 1.5 great seasons, and the rest of it are just shit.
Damn.
So that's what I'll complain about. I mean, the first season was great. In fact, in my mind, just like you do, I'm gonna end it right there. The first season of Telltale's Walking Dead, that's the beginning and end of the story for me. It's a little bit open-ended, but that's fine. It's better than where it actually went. I can keep the ending I want in my mind.
Out of mind, out of sight, or out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. So one that I actually wanted to bring up and ask you about, I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, is how do you feel about Resident Evil?
I only played like 1, 2, and 5, but I think that everybody was saying number 4 was good. I haven't played 4, but number 5, I don't know. I enjoyed the mechanics, but I didn't like how it became action based. Like everything was so easy to get past all of the infected, I think the worms or something like that. You just shoot them once in the leg and shoot them in the head kind of thing, and it's like so easy to zoom past all of it. It basically removed the scare factor or the vulnerability. Like it used to be all about zombies, and you know, you're in a dire situation with 2 bullets. Now I'm like in number 5, I can punch boulders for sure. I guarantee it. So I don't know, like I think they try to reboot bring back zombies in number 7. I haven't played, was it 6 or 7 with the zombies? So
yeah, I haven't played. So I played Resident Evil 1 through 4, and you were there when I played 2 hours of 7, which is officially a scary game for me. I'd probably never go back to that. But within the microcosm of those 4 games, it did, especially from 3 to 4. You know what? From 2 to 3, it made a jump to be more action based. 3 had some cool mechanics where you could make different choices that affected the game. But Jill had a dodge roll in Resident Evil Nemesis. So there were points where you can be standing there. I mean, it was still that fixed camera angle, but you could shoot stuff if an enemy got too close. You can almost Dark Souls roll backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the gameplay changed a lot. And then, I mean, just the amount of zombies there were from the first game going into the second game was a huge upgrade. You know, in the first game, you're just limited to the Spencer Mansion. And then in the second game, you're running around all throughout Raccoon City. So there's way more stuff to encounter in that, meaning way more action. I think that one grew up with us, if that makes any sense, right? It was amazing when it came out, had a lot of potential as a kid. It went through its weird ass teenage years with 5 and 6-ish, where it was multiplayer. Chris was punching boulders and shit, and Leon all of a sudden knew kung fu, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's coming back. It's figuring out its life, you know, into adulthood with 7, just recreating itself, redefining itself. So I think that's one that for sure is just coming in and out in waves, you know. Where it started out good, had some growing pains. I mean, we won't even talk about Operation Raccoon City and what the fuck happened there, man. But for the main, storyline of the game, because all of them are connected apparently, since spoiler alert, Chris is in Resident Evil 7. I mean, they're all connected somehow, and I think in that main line of games, it's at least I'm optimistic for the future on where it's going, because it started out as survival horror. That was the genre that game was, right? Survival horror, and then it turned into an action shooter. Kind of halfway down the line.
Exactly.
And what they're doing now is it is coming back to a survival horror type game, where you are, like you said, limited with your supplies and working out if you can afford to kill this enemy or if it's better to just run around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they're going back in the right direction, so it's cool with me. I'll just never play it.
They just need to get rid of the tentacles and stuff like that.
Wait, what?
Bring back the zombies.
Yeah. You know what? See, now I kind of want to check out Resident Evil 7. Or Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 6, I mean.
Oh, yeah. I think that was the one with zombies.
Yeah. There's zombies at certain points
Leon?
in that game. Yeah, because there's different storylines. There's a storyline where you follow Leon. There's one where you follow Chris. And then there's one where you follow Wesker's son. I have no fucking idea who the guy is.
What?
Yes. And I don't know if they're connected or not. You know what? I might check that game out today. See if it's on Steam or something. But, yeah, man. There are good games out there. But when you turn them into series, they kind of get crappy, I think is what we can learn from this, right? You'll have a great game like Resident Evil come out. Then Resident Evil 2 will come out, and it's even better. And then based off the reputation of those first two games, Resident Evil 3 will do good, but it's kind of shitty. And then you rewrite the whole thing, flip the script on everybody, and make Resident Evil 4, and you're like, oh, hey, you know what? This is a good change for this series. Then you get Resident Evil 5 where you're kicking hyenas in the face, and you go, wait. What are we doing now?
Shooting everyone in the leg.
I know, shooting everybody in the leg and roundhousing people? What? Maybe that's just me being a traditionalist, but I think that's a problem for sure. And companies need to know when to just cut it off, right? They need to know, all right, we got as much as we needed to out of this IP. There's no need to kick a dead horse, right? Or beat a dead horse. Which is why I respect Uncharted so much for ending the way it did. So props to Naughty Dog out there, and just starting a new series with The Last of Us. Hopefully they don't ruin it, dude.
I know. Stop at 3, Last of Us. Stop.
Yeah, we'll stop at 2. Stop at 2. In fact, I was fine with the first ending. Just don't ruin it too bad, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, I'd like to hear what everybody else's favorite series are. Which ones they think lasted too long, or which ones ended perfectly. I think there's definitely a lot more series out there that we didn't mention. I mean, maybe like Crash Bandicoot, Street Fighter. Even though I heard Street Fighter, Parappa the Rapper. Wait, what? There was only 2 Parappa the Rapper games.
Oh.
Was there? There wasn't 3.
Don't know. Don't remember.
Anyway, the second
Buster
game,
Groove, I think.
The second game sucked though. Buster Groove did. Yeah, I think Buster Groove did.
Buster Groove.
There was like 5 of those, I think.
Yeah, they should have just stopped at the one where I beat you and
Okay. On a PlayStation 3, by the way. So it wasn't for real. But yeah, man. Now we're at the point in our show where we talk about game recommendations. Rick, what is your game recommendation for this week, man?
I definitely recommend checking out Undertale. Even though I was really against it at first, it is a really good story if you're interested in learning more about, I don't know. The story has so much lore and different turns, and the choices you make actually affect the ending and the route you're going. And as a protagonist, you're just like a kid that falls down I think it's like a hole or something like that. And you're in the world. Yeah, you land in like a patch of flowers, and you're in the world of monsters, essentially. And so your goal is to get back to the surface area, but on the way to the surface area, you meet so many different monsters, you fight so many monsters, or you spare so many monsters. So it just depends on all of the choices you make, whether you befriend somebody or whether you're against them. It actually affects the endings and the routes you take. And especially it kind of goes out of the perspective of your normal gameplay. So for example, like if you're trying to reload a save, it remembers that you like killed that monster, in the previous save.
What? So there's only one save per playthrough then? Because it'll remember.
No,
you can.
Right? Yeah, there's like I think there's multiple saves, but like I think if you like try to reload something after killing something, I don't remember how it worked, but there's stuff in there like that. So it's really choice based. So you just got to make sure you're always making the right choices, whether you want the good ending, the bad ending, and I forgot the other endings. So, and then there's many different lores of like conspiracies of how the world came to be for the monsters, why they're down there, and why they sealed off, and the stories behind it. So it's very interesting, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Like it really got to me. Like it has a lot of feels, basically.
Wait, how? Did you talk about the kid's family or something, or why?
No, not even. It's just the way, your mentality, your morality, and stuff like that. Those decisions you make, it feels like you're actually making those decisions and stuff like that. So it's just, you can strongly empathize with the protagonist, basically. And it's like, okay, I got this ending, that's because I made the decision to do this and stuff like that. So definitely recommend it. It's on Steam, and it got really almost 10 out of 10 everywhere, especially with the story. And there's some conspiracy theories on YouTube that you can definitely check out, how the world came to be, and some of the characters you don't see in game, but the only way you can actually decrypt some of the characters' information is if you hack the game itself, and you can find some hidden information of the game. Yeah, so it got that deep.
So there was only like certain people could find out information because they could hack the game?
Yes, yeah.
What?
And it turns out like they actually did, and it's true because the developer was pretty secretive, and like he already knew that people are going to go into his code. So like if you start reading his code, then there's certain things that are hidden that you don't see normally in the game. So you can definitely look those videos up after completing the game. And it also enhances the story itself. You're like, oh, I never knew that. I never given second thought to it. Like, why is there like one area you go into like a destroyed abandoned lab, and you're like, okay, I just got to get something here and then go back out. But then it turns out that lab is like very critical to why the world came to be, and stuff like that. So yep,
that's interesting.
That's definitely, yeah, like I never knew this game would be so deep in itself. I thought it was just like some 2-bit kind of game, and stuff. And then like, for example, like one enemy, a little bit of spoiler, there's like a dog, and like if you keep petting him instead of attacking him or running away, you keep petting him, his head gets so long, it goes off the screen, comes back up, goes zigzags and all that, and you just keep doing that, he'll get to the point where like he'll like, I don't know, love you so much, and he'll help you later in the game. So yeah, people wouldn't think to keep petting the enemy, but stuff like that.
That's funny, dude. Speaking of like a prompt, this is something funny I just watched on a stream recently. It just popped in my head. He's talking about, you wouldn't think of keeping on petting the dog. In South Park Fractured Butthole, there's a button you could press throughout the cutscenes. If you press circle or something, you can skip the cutscene. But whenever you do that, it just pauses the cutscene, and Cartman yells at you like, hey man, you should pay attention to this. This is important to the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you press it again, and then you go back to the cutscene. And I saw this guy try to skip the cutscene over and over again, right? And every time Cartman yelled at him about, dude, just watch it. You don't worry about the game. It's still going to be there, you know? And then after a while, I guess it ran out of prompts for what Cartman would say. You know what I mean? So he would try to skip it. It would pause again, but Cartman wouldn't talk anymore. So he kept doing this over and over and over. He really didn't want to watch these cutscenes, the streamer I was watching. And then all of a sudden, in the last one, he presses skip, and Cartman's like, fine, you really want to skip these cutscenes, huh? I bet you're fun at parties or some shit like that. He just talks shit to the player, right? So the cutscene gets skipped, but it skips the player all the way to the ending credits, dude. So you just see the credits start rolling. So it skips the entire game. It's
Holy
fucking
crap.
amazing, dude. Spoiler alert, if you haven't played Fractured Butthole yet. I'm just kidding. That's not a spoiler. You can try it yourself or see a video on it. I just thought that was so cool of the developer to just... Well, of course, it's fucking South Park. Of course they would do that, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just too funny to me that if you try to skip any cutscene long enough, like you said, like if you pet that dog long enough, something will happen. You know, they'll just completely skip the whole game for you. So the game I'll recommend this week, mentioned it a little bit earlier, is called Valhalla, and it's spelled, let me get the spelling here for everybody. It's on Steam, and I would characterize this as a visual novel because there's really no gameplay. I mean, you're a bartender. People come into your bar, they become regulars, they ask you advice on their problems at home. You know, bartender's kind of like a therapist, right? People have no connection to the bartender. They're only there to get drinks. It's easy to talk to them about whatever because you'll probably never see them again, right?
Yep.
So that's what people do. They'll come into your bar and just spill all their troubles and worries out to you. And you start helping people, and they'll come back in and say, oh, you know what? Your advice that you gave me was really great. You know, and they'll just tell you about how their life's been improving and things going on. From then on, you start building relationships with all the characters. Great character development in this game. Again, Valhalla, this is spelled VA-11 HALL-A. It's called Cyberpunk Bartender Action. So it's kind of like anime sprite 2D style, man, and you just sit there, listen to people's problems, and make them drinks. As I mentioned before, it's a lot like Phoenix Wright, where the gameplay is super minimal. You know, you just click around at different things and inspect stuff, but in between that, there's these great intertwined stories that you have an effect on, essentially. I mean, really, I'm saying this, and I played this game for 14 hours, dude. So definitely check it out. I think it's maybe $15 on Steam. And I want to say since the last time I've played it, this says I'd last played this game December 27th, 2016. And since then, they've released new patches with new storylines and new choices you can make in the game. So I think it's definitely worth the purchase. I might even run through it again. The music is great. It's like 8-bit style from the Nintendo. So it's really cool. Difficulty is really easy. So like I said, you could just sit and just click through stuff and read if you wanted to. You get everybody's you could probably get everybody's drinks wrong in this game and you'll still do fine. But yeah, Valhalla, Cyberpunk Bartender Action on Steam. Definitely check it out. Yeah, that is it for us this week. Next week, in the spirit of Halloween, we'll talk about scary games and the amount of fun we had playing scary games. Which, if you know us, you know that we hate that shit, so it should be a pretty short episode. But before then, Rick, some words of wisdom?
If you haven't rode the bus in years, research that shit. Otherwise, you'll end up going 3 blocks the wrong way.
All right, guys. See you next week.